Demon Slayer, one of the most beautifully animated stories going on right now, and nothing showcases that more than its fights. Outside of animes like Attack on Titan or Death Note, Demon Slayer is going to be the closest that we're going to get as far as normal humans. Our Demon Slayers don't have any powers or quirks or jutsus, they just have their Nichiren sword and their breathing style. While yes, there is only one offensive fighting style, and that's going to be somebody's breathing style, there's still a huge variety of those breathing styles that make them all unique and different. So that got me thinking, what are all the breathing styles that we've seen across the course of the show so far? Not only that, but how does one's breathing style affect their fighting style? How many forms does each style have? Who created each style? Well, I'll be answering that here today, so stay with me as we deep dive into all of the breathing styles. Now, the easiest way to do this is to start from the beginning. So for the very first breathing style, we have sun breathing. Now, sun breathing is the first and the oldest style that we have in Demon Slayer. All other breathing styles were either indirectly or directly derived from it. Sun breathing was created by a man called Yorichi, who was the strongest Demon Slayer in the history of Demon Slayers. And it's also come as no surprise as sun breathing is stated to be the strongest breathing style that there is. It also is the second most versatile breathing style, coming in at 13 forms. Sun breathing got developed during the Sengoku era, which was a huge turning point during the time because it spelled the first time that humans had a way to fight back demons. Unfortunately, sun breathing was actually really hard to pass on, and most people didn't learn it, and if they did learn it, it was way weaker than Yorichi's version. That led to the creation and development of the five elemental breathing styles we see right now. Sun breathing was even too hard for Kokoshibu to figure out. Because sunlight is extremely fatal to a demon, sun breathing proved to be extremely effective at taking him down, which caused Muzan to fear not only Yorichi, but anybody who had learned sun breathing from him. That led to sun breathing becoming a lost breathing style, as Muzan and Kokoshibu, after Yorichi's death, had cut down anybody that even knew a form of sun breathing. And since nobody could use it the way Yorichi did, they couldn't really defend themselves that good. Unbeknownst to Muzan, sun breathing was actually getting passed down to a close friend of Yorichi, who happens to be a ancestor of Tanjiro. And this dance is called the Hinokami Kagura. This dance was a ritual performed annually by a male member of the Kamado household, used to protect from diseases and threats. Not only that, but was used as a way to remember and celebrate Yorichi. And Tanjiro had watched his dad do this for years, and while he wasn't as good as his dad, he still memorized all the forms. And while he didn't figure it out at first, he eventually came to know that the Hinokami Kagura is actually derived from sun breathing, and with the help of some flashbacks, he was able to actually get the whole sun breathing down and perform it against Muzan, making him the second wielder of the sun breathing technique. Well, technically not the second, but the second and only other one we see in the series. And that leads us to our second breathing style we're going to talk about, and that's moon breathing. Now, moon breathing was created by Kokoshibu when he was still a demon slayer in the Demon Slayer Corps. Now, due to his fierce rivalry with his brother Yorichi and just not being able to master sun breathing, he just decided to create his own. And while it's not as strong as it is more versatile as it has a whopping 16 forms. Due to moon breathing being derived from a crescent moon, it has a lot of unpredictable and sweeping attacks, making it extremely useful in close range and long range situations. Not only that, but offense and defense. And because we only see moon breathing getting used when Kokoshibu is a demon, we have to talk about it in conjunction with the blood demon art. When Kokoshibu is using his breathing style along with his blood demon art, he's able to put different size shaped crescent moons on the trajectory of his sword swing. Not only do you have to defend the sword, but you have to watch out for the crescent moons that are stabbing at you when he swings. This makes him almost impossible to fight against, especially in a 1v1 situation. Now, it's hard to say how effective moon breathing would be without the blood demon art, as it's not really a power focus or a precision focus attack style. Most of the trouble we've seen the Demon Slayers have with Kokoshibu come off the crescent moons on the strike of his blade, not actually him striking his blade itself. But with 16 forms, I'm sure it'll still be one of the better styles to have. So now, enough with moon breathing, we're going to move on to the next one, and that's going to be water breathing. The OG style, Tanjiro's first breathing style. I mean, water breathing has been with us since the very beginning. And it's also the style that we see used by the most Demon Slayers. We have Tanjiro, Giyu, Urokodai, I believe I said that right, and also Murata. Water breathing is one of those 5 original elemental breathing styles that got derived from sun breathing. It's a style that focuses on fluid movement, so instead of you overpowering somebody, it's more designed for you to flow around their attacks, which makes it the best defensive breathing style. But don't get that wrong, it's still a very good offensive breathing style as well, especially in the mid to close range combat. And just like the other 2 breathing styles we talked about, this one is also very versatile as it has 10 forms. Unless you're Giyu, then it has 11. With the 11 forms showcasing just how powerful this style is defensively with Dead Calm. Dead Calm was created by Gyu, and Gyu is the only person who knows how to use it. Unlike the other forms, Dead Calm is purely defensive, and it is the best defensive move in the whole series. When Dead Calm is activated, Gyu is practically impossible to hit, as all attacks are slashed before they fully form, and they get neutralized the moment they enter Dead Calm. The only attack to get past Dead Calm was Akaza's final move in the Infinity Castle movie. It's a great style with a lot of variety, emphasizing on defense, which is the complete opposite of our next style that we're going to talk about, and that's Thunder Breathing. While Thunder Breathing is derived from Sun Breathing and is one of the original 5 elemental styles, it is nothing like Water Breathing at all. Thunder Breathing is derived off explosive moves, fast speeds, and ending a fight in a single strike. This style has one goal in mind, and that's to end this fight as soon as possible. And unlike Water Breathing, this breathing style is basically all offensive. There's 3 known users of Thunder Breathing that we see, and that's Zenitsu, Kaigaku, and their teacher. Now, their situation is a little weird because Zenitsu can only use the first form, but Kaigaku can use everything but the first form. And the only time we see Kaigaku is either in flashbacks or in the Infinity Castle, so because of that, we only really know about the first form, Thunderclap and Flash. But that's not a problem for Zenitsu, as his first form comes with different versions. So we have the regular Thunderclap and Flash, we have Sixfold, we have Eightfold, and then we have Godlike Speed. Outside of that, Zenitsu is the only other Demon Slayer besides Gyu to create his own form, and that's Flaming Thunder God. Flaming Thunder God is 100% purely offensive move designed to end the fight right then and there. It combines a single slash with speeds even faster than Thunderclap and Flash Godlike Speed, which creates an offensive move so strong and powerful, Kaigaku's head got split off in an instant second without him even realizing what was going on. It's a style that combines speed with precision, something that's completely different than our next entry, and that's going to be Beast Breathing. Beast Breathing was created by your one and only Inosuke, who was raised in the wild by wild boars. Beast Breathing goes completely off of pure instinct and unpredictable movements. At first, it looks chaotic and sloppy until you realize there's a real finesse and technique that goes into it. Tanjiro literally compares his fight with Inosuke as fighting a wild boar in Season 1. And to complement that chaotic style, Inosuke is the only Demon Slayer we see fight with not only 2 Nichiren swords, but 2 serrated Nichiren swords. While it's not the most technical form, it doesn't lack any variety at all, as we know it has at least 10 forms because Inosuke has used a 10th Fang before. With the most impressive form, I would say, being the 7th form, Spatial Awareness, which allows Inosuke to dig his 2 swords into the ground and kind of pick up on the space around him. He's able to sense other demons, sense other people, and kind of figure out where they're at. I mean, not kinda, he literally figures out where they're at. And I believe this is the only style that you just can't teach anybody else because you just instinctively have to be a wild animal like Inosuke. If you're not, you just won't be able to do this style correctly. Now let's move on to the style Beast Breathing was derived from, and that's Wind Breathing. Now this style is only used by Saname, and we don't see anybody else using Wind Breathing at all in the series. It's a very violent attack style as it's focused on aggression, strength, high attack output, and just cutting down anything that comes in its path. It is derived from Sun Breathing, and I would say it's definitely the most violent style out of all the styles in the show. Because it is used by Saname, we don't really get to see any of it until the Infinity Castle. I know they added some stuff in the Hashira training arc, but I'm not going to count that. I want to count a real deal fight where we actually get to see all the forms in action. Now, is it the most defensive focused style? Absolutely not, but it's not needed whatsoever. With 9 forms to go from, there's plenty of offensive output that you can get from wind style breathing to get the job done. Like I said earlier, it is Saname style, so we haven't got to see it in use that much. So I can't really talk about my favorite form. I haven't seen it animated yet, and he doesn't make a form up, so there's nothing to talk about there. But there is something to talk about with our next entry, and that's going to be Flame Breathing. Now, with Flame Breathing, we only see 3 users, technically 2 users. That's going to be Rengoku and his dad, Shinjiro. But a lot of people don't know Mitsuri actually used to be a Flame Breathing student under Rengoku, but it wasn't compatible for her, so she switched to Love Breathing instead. Now, Flame Breathing is a very strong and powerful attack style, but it's very different from Wind Breathing. Flame Breathing seems to be more about precision and power than it is just about being overall violent and destructive. Because of that, it's a way better defensive power than Wind Breathing, which makes it probably the best 1v1 style to have. I mean, Akaza was just sending his praises to Rengoku over his technique, his fighting spirit, his stance, I mean, everything. And just like 2 other people on this list, Rengoku also created his own form, being the 9th form, named after himself, Rengoku. This form takes the style to its absolute peak. Once activated, the user unleashes a full frontal attack against its opponent. We've seen Rengoku use this as an all or nothing against Akaza. This attack is meant to put down your opponent for good. And while it wasn't enough to take out Akaza, we learned that the only person that can take out Akaza is Akaza. And next up, we have our last elemental style, and that's going to be stone breathing. Now, stone breathing is a style that we only seen used from Gyome. And because it's from Gyome, just like Saname, we haven't really seen it in action too much. The only form we were able to see was the first form, which Gyome used against Muzan when he attacked Ubuyashiki's mansion. What we do know is stone breathing is a very physical attack form, which you needing precise control over it and as well as extreme strength to even master it. And since Gyome is the only person we've seen using stone breathing, I'm going to use him as the basis for how the breathing style actually works. So with that being said, stone breathing is actually very unique because Gyome is the only demon slayer that does not actually use a Nichiren sword. He actually uses a hand axe and a spiked flail that's connected through a chain, which makes it the only breathing style that's predicated on it crushing its opponents instead of slicing. This also makes it the only breathing style that's compatible with long range, unless you're Zenitsu using Thunderclap and Flash. Now, just because Gyome is the strongest Hashira, I'm not going to say stone breathing is the strongest breathing style. I will, however, say it's the most powerful, as we've seen Gyome have no problem in decapitating Muzan in one swing. Luckily for us, next movie we're going to see a plethora of stone breathing getting used, but as of right now, there's not too much to talk about. What I am going to talk about though is the breathing style we've seen since season 1 of Demon Slayer, and that's going to be insect breathing. Now, insect breathing is going to be the most unique breathing style on this list. Well, for starters, it was created by Shinobu, and it's derived off of flower breathing. And the thing that makes it so unique is it's the only breathing style not designed to decapitate demons. Now, was that necessarily by choice? Kinda. See, along with having the most unique style, Shinobu is actually the most unique demon slayer, as she's the only demon slayer in the whole Demon Slayer Corps that cannot decapitate a demon. She's not physically strong enough to do so. But if you can't decapitate a demon, how can you kill them? How is she effective? Well, insect breathing relies on two things, and that's speed and poison. See, Shinobu is easily the smartest demon slayer in the whole course, as she is a licensed pharmacologist. Well, I don't know about licensed, but she is properly trained. So when she's not spending her time hunting down demons, she's in the lab making up poisons and studying. And because of this, she has a plethora of poisons that she can use against any demon she comes across. And she can change her poison at will. All she has to do is put her sword back into the whatever it's called that you hold your swords in and just twist it. And these poisons are extremely effective, able to break down demons on a cellular level. Unless if you're an upper moon, specifically Doma. Which leads into, I would say, the only weakness that we're gonna have out of all the breathing styles is gonna come on insect breathing, and that's the simple fact of once you start going against demons that are Doma's level, maybe even Akaza's level and up, the poison is just not gonna be that effective anymore. As we've seen in a fight with Doma, yeah, was the poison effective for a couple of seconds? Yeah, but Doma just broke it down, neutralized it, and it was pretty much wraps from then. And it does have the lowest amount of forms, coming in at only 4, so there's not a great variety to it at all. And that's not to discredit Shinobu at all. I mean, she is a Hashira. It's just only so much you can do when you can't actually decapitate a demon. But moving on to a breathing style that can do that, sound breathing. Now, sound breathing was derived off of thunder breathing, and it was created by Tengen. And as Tengen is the only person we see ever using sound breathing, as he's the one that created it, everything that we know about it is going to be based off of what we've seen from him. Now, sound breathing is a very close quarters combat style that we see getting used with 2 Nichiren cleavers. And is also used with these small little explosive balls that Tengen can use for either distractions and ways to escape something, but he can also use that as a way of deflection, as we've seen Tengen use this a lot in the Entertainment District arc against Guthro with his blood sickles. Now, unfortunately, we don't get to see sound breathing used a lot in action, as Tengen was only involved during the Entertainment District arc and then he retired, and we only seen 3 forms getting used. That's going to be the first form, the 4th form, and then the 5th. So we know it at least has 5 forms. And while that doesn't sound that impressive at first, what makes sound breathing so deadly is this special technique: musical score. See, sound breathing is what I consider the most analytical breathing style. See, as Tengen is actually fighting, he's paying attention to all the openings, the attack styles, the movements of his enemies, and he's recording all of that. And once he gets his opponent's rhythm figured out, he's able to turn their attacks into a musical score. aka a song. And he'll be able to read that song as he's fighting his opponent in the same way that somebody playing the piano can read that song and play that piano, which allows him to react to movements he couldn't react to before, attack in ways he couldn't attack before. It turns him into a better fighter. I mean, just imagine you're fighting somebody and they start reading everything you're doing like a song. They start singing to you. Like Guthro's going crazy. It is the only breathing style we've seen canonically that the longer you fight it, the stronger it becomes. Like, just imagine you're fighting somebody and they turn all of your attacks into a song and it makes them faster and stronger. Unfortunately for us, Tengen is retired. We're not going to see any more sound breathing, but luckily we will see more of this next one, and that's going to be love breathing. Love breathing was created by Mitsuri, and it was derived off of flame breathing, which makes sense because Mitsuri originally was a flame breathing student of Rengoku. And while we do know Mitsuri is a very strong girl, her greatest asset is actually her flexibility. Again, like most styles created by one of the Hashira, it's very unique to them and it's very unique how it's used. Unlike using a regular Nichiren sword, love breathing actually uses a very thin and long Nichiren sword to get the work done. Because the sword is so thin, it comes off as curvy, and we've been told in the story that anybody else tries to use the sword, they're probably going to cut themselves, which means you need a very strict level of control to even use this breathing style in the first place. Because of her flexibility and how long her Nichiren sword is, Mitsuri is able to attack opponents in a large area radius. Now, while the style does only have 6 forms, making it one of the least versatile styles in the series, Mitsuri's flexibility allows her to accomplish a lot with this breathing style. But does it let her accomplish more than our next one? And that's serpent breathing. Serpent breathing is derived off of water breathing, and it was created by her knight in shining armor, Obanai. Now, serpent breathing is the most finesse-like breathing style as it focuses on irregular movement, twisting, trajectories, and deception. We have seen in real life how Obanai's sword can curve naturally and change directions while he's swinging it, obviously resembling a snake like the snake he carries with him. And not to sound like a broken record, but just like Saname, we haven't really got to see serpent breathing in action yet, so there's not too much to talk about as far as the forms. And even if we had seen them, there's only 5 of them. But that's not that big of an issue when you have a breathing style as unpredictable as serpent breathing. As it tends to focus on more unpredictability and finesse, it doesn't need as much raw power as something like stone breathing or flame breathing would need. And this also makes it a very effective breathing style in all ranges of combat. But its real strength comes with its precision. Although serpent-like moves with his sword allows Obanai to accurately depict where his Nichiren blade is gonna go. We see that clear as day during the Hashira training arc when Tanjiro starts training with Obanai. As we see, the only way to pass Obanai's training is to land a hit on him while you're avoiding the other Demon Slayers tied up to the walls and the obstacle, which shows how deadly Obanai is with his precision. But does it let you get as precise as our last breathing style we're going to talk about, and that's going to be flower breathing. Now, I don't know if flower breathing was created by Kana-A, but I do know her and Kana-O are the only 2 users that we see in the Demon Slayer universe. And contrary to the name, flower breathing is not delicate. While it's not a style that's predicated on brute force, it is predicated off of graceful movements and precision. And it's just as good as offense as it is its defense. While it is one of the least versatile styles that we do have on this list, its final form well then makes up for it. And just like the rest of the style, we haven't actually seen any of it animated yet, but we will come in next movie. Its final form, Ectonocto Vermilion Eye, is only used by Kanao. Once activated, it slows her perception and time down dramatically, allowing her to aim for vital points with extreme accuracy. Not only that, but it allows her to weave around and dodge attacks that she wouldn't have been able to weave before. And this proves to be extremely effective as we've seen her decapitate Doma with this and then administer that medicine to Demon King Tanjiro to help revert him back to a human. However, it does come with a major drawback, and that is a intense pressure on the eyes. Kinda just like using an MS. If you use this final form too much, you can strain your eyes so much that they go blind, making this attack more of a last resort, last ditch effort attack more than just an offensive blitz. And on that note, that wraps up all the breathing styles that are in Demon Slayer. One of the most beautiful attack styles that is in New Gen anime. Maybe one of these days we'll go over which one is the strongest, but I feel like that's just so subjective that it's just pretty much up to interpretation. But we have a lot more Demon Slayer content coming up. We have a lot more content from different animes coming up. So go ahead, subscribe, turn on that noti bell, and leave a like. And until then, you guys have a nice one.